Hey y'all, grab your snacks because this story is getting wild. Word on the street is that Tamar Braxton might be stepping forward with some shocking news about Diddy. Yes, that Diddy. Now, if you know Tamar, you already know she does not hold back when something ain't right. And according to what's been flying around lately, she may have had a messy run-in with him that she's ready to talk about. So let's back it up a little. Everything started heating up after Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, came out with some serious claims about him. She talked about being mistreated emotionally, mentally, and even physically. A lot of people were shaken by her story, but one person who seemed to really feel it on a deep level was Tamar. Why? Well, some say it's because she's been through something very similar. Tamar hasn't said anything directly about Diddy yet, but people close to the situation are saying her story might connect to what Cassie went through. That's big. Tamar once said that God saved her from herself because she stayed too long in the wrong relationship. She said that person made her feel terrible about her dreams and who she was, and get this, she said he used to beat her down mentally and physically. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Now, just when the Diddy situation was already full of twists, the court dropped some of the charges against him. Yup, the prosecutors dropped a few things, like the alleged kidnapping of a woman named Capricorn Clark. She claimed she was held for 5 days and forced to take lie detector tests. She even said she was threatened with being thrown into the East River. That's terrifying. Diddy's legal team, of course, denied all of it. They said there's no proof Diddy even knew what was happening. Another claim that got dropped was from rapper Kid Cudi. He said someone firebombed his car after Diddy found out he was dating Cassie. But again, Diddy's lawyers said he had nothing to do with it. They even pointed out that the DNA found on the Molotov cocktail was from a woman, not Diddy. And here's another twist. The prosecutors dropped parts of the charges related to moving women across states for inappropriate purposes. But don't get it twisted. This doesn't mean Diddy's free and clear. They're just focusing on the stuff they can prove without a doubt. Now here's the weirdest part. Diddy's defense only took 30 minutes. They didn't bring any witnesses. Not even Diddy himself spoke on the stand. His lawyers didn't explain why either. Maybe they thought they didn't need to. Or maybe no one wanted to defend him. Either way, the internet is buzzing, and so is the courtroom. And now, with Tamar's name suddenly being thrown into the mix, it's got people thinking, is she about to tell us her truth? Is her story somehow connected to all of this? You see, Tamar has lived through some tough relationships. She once opened up and said she was in a relationship where the guy made her feel like she didn't matter. He didn't support her dreams, he talked down to her, and made her feel small for having goals. Can you imagine someone trying to dim your light like that? And the worst part is, she said she stayed because she didn't know who she was back then. That's real deep. On an episode of The Real, Tamar explained how not knowing yourself can keep you stuck in bad situations. She said she came from a strong family, but even that couldn't help her when she didn't believe in her own worth. That's why she tells young women all the time, get to know you. Because when you don't, people can break you down so easily. And that's exactly what happened to her. Now, this ain't just talk. Tamar's past has receipts. Remember back in 2016, there were reports that her ex-husband, Vince Herbert, bit her hand during a fight in a hotel. At the time, both of them denied it, but later on things started coming out. And it wasn't just strangers speaking up either. Tamar's own sister, Toni Braxton, and their mama, Evelyn Braxton, got involved too. Evelyn didn't play around. She went public and said she was tired of Vince putting his hands on her child. She told the world that things were going on behind closed doors for years. And that she was scared Vince might hurt Tamar for real. She even said he looked like a knight in shining armor to everyone else, but behind the scenes, he was a whole different person. After Tamar and Vince finally got divorced in 2019, more truth started spilling out. And Tamar began opening up even more about the damage those years caused her. She talked about struggling with serious depression and anxiety. She even admitted that she's had body dysmorphia since she was a kid, and a record executive made it worse with hurtful comments about her looks. So now, think about it. When Tamar hears about women being controlled, hurt, and silenced in the music industry, it hits her hard. Because she's been there. She knows what it's like to feel trapped, to be broken down, and to fight to find your voice again. That's why this Diddy situation might be more personal than we even realize. And get this, it's not just about what Cassie said. Other people close to Diddy have come forward too, including folks who used to work for him. Their stories, they're just as wild. One of Diddy's former personal assistants got on the witness stand and said that working for him meant turning a blind eye to all kinds of chaos. They had to manage every tiny detail of his life, down to making sure his applesauce, Jell-O, and Fiji water were always in the hotel room. Sounds like a full-time job already, right? But it wasn't just the weird requests. It was the dark stuff happening behind the scenes. One former assistant named David James said that he once had to drive Diddy to what could have turned into a shootout with Suge Knight. Yes, you heard that right, the same Suge Knight from all those old-school rap beefs. David said he seriously thought he was going to die that night, just sitting behind the wheel of Diddy's car outside a diner. That's the kind of danger he was dealing with just by doing his job. Another assistant remembered hearing Cassie screaming on Diddy's private jet back in 2015. Glass was shattering, and no one stepped in to stop it. These stories aren't coming from random blogs. They're being shared in court under oath. That's serious. Then there's someone who went by the name Mia while testifying. She worked for Diddy from 2009 to 2017. She said he controlled everything about Cassie, from where she went, to how she looked, to her music. Mia said part of her job was basically spying on Cassie and reporting back. Even though they grew close like sisters, anytime they did something Diddy didn't approve of, the punishment was terrifying. So now imagine Tamar Braxton, who's survived her own kind of control and trauma, sitting at home watching all of this unfold. That's got to stir up some serious memories. And we know Tamar has already spoken out in the past when she saw something wrong. Remember when Diddy randomly announced he had a baby with another woman while he was still publicly dating Young Miami? The internet clowned Miami, but Tamar was one of the only celebs who showed her love. She posted, "Before you all start commenting, there was a shortage of billionaires. Translation, mind your business and stop judging women for staying in complicated relationships." So if she stood up for Young Miami and she survived all this pain of her own, what happens if Tamar finally decides to speak on whatever happened between her and Diddy? Because now, folks are whispering that she just might. And if Tamar speaks up, someone who's been silenced, pushed to the edge, and fought her way back, this whole case might take a turn that no one is ready for. Stay tuned, subscribe, share, and like, because the next part might just shake the whole industry.